The son of Caesar and Cleopatra was called Caesarion, which meant Little Caesar, and the boy's full official name was Ptolemy 15 Philopator Philometor Caesar. Moreover, the very first name, Ptolemy, he received as the heir to the dynasty of the same name. Formally, at the time of his birth, his mother was married to her own brother Ptolemy 14. Caesarion's name alone suggests the ambiguity of his position. On the one hand, he is a legitimate representative of the dynasty of the Hellenistic rulers of Egypt, the Ptolemies. On the other hand, he is the son of Caesar, that is, the half-brother of Octavian Augustus, who was posthumously, by will, adopted by Gaius Julius Caesar. If desired, Caesarion could claim the throne of two great powers, Egypt and Rome. Rome was still a republic, of course, but soon Octavian would be the first emperor. Theoretically, together with it, or instead of it, Caesarion could have ruled. But his mother was not well liked in Rome or Egypt. During Caesar's lifetime, the Romans courted the queen who had come from Egypt and sought her protection. Immediately after the murder of her lover, Cleopatra had to immediately leave the capital. The mildest of the epithets bestowed on her by the evil-tongued Roman plebs at the time was Egyptian witch. But even at home, the queen was not very friendly. For the Egyptians she was a Roman litter and a traitor. After all, Cleopatra, in order for the Romans to support her claim to the throne of Egypt, recognized the huge debt of her country to Rome, and its payment became a heavy burden for the Egyptian treasury. Shortly upon Cleopatra's return to Alexandria, her brother, husband and co-ruler Ptolemy XIV, died. The Egyptians had no doubt that Cleopatra had poisoned him. The following year, the Nile did not flood, the fields were left without silt and suffered from drought. A year later, it all happened again. Of course, Cleopatra was also blamed for these troubles. Caesar left 3 Roman legions in Egypt to maintain order. After Caesar's death, they began to commit outrages, considering Egypt not so much an allied as an occupied country. With great difficulty, they were sent back to Rome. And in the 3rd year, the army of Mark Antony appeared in Cilicia, neighboring Egypt. Cleopatra learned that a Roman politician wanted to summon her for trial and show execution. She went to him on a gorgeous gilded ship with musicians and half-naked maids. She herself sat in the center, as ancient authors write, in the dress of Aphrodite. Mark Antony was impressed and invited her to a friendly dinner. He ended up falling in love with her. The happy couple lived together for 11 years. After losing the civil war, Antony threw himself on the sword on August 1, and Cleopatra was poisoned on August 12, 30 BC. Caesarion was 17 years old at the time of his mother's death. Mark Antony, who had publicly expressed doubts about Caesar's paternity after Caesar's death, changed his mind after meeting Cleopatra and began using the boy for political propaganda. His alliance with Caesarion's mother allowed him to claim that he was fighting for the rights of Julius Caesar's true heir. But for Octavian Augustus, young Caesarion became a direct competitor. After the victory of Octavian in the war with Mark Antony, Caesarion, who was not supported by anyone in Rome or Egypt, was doomed. Cleopatra understood this and sent her son to India before she died. She assigned Caesarion to his mentor Rawdon to keep an eye on him. But he persuaded the boy to return to Alexandria. And, unfortunately, he sent him to his death. It is not known whether Rawdon sincerely believed that Octavian would feel sorry for Caesarion, or whether, knowing the consequences, she deliberately made such a choice, since he was well paid for it. In any case, Octavian Augustus, who became the sole ruler of Rome, chose not to leave another son of Caesar alive and executed Caesarion.